What's up guys, Gavin here. Today I have a updated ABC deck profile for y'all today, and honestly I'm really excited about this one. I've been playing this deck a lot online. I haven't gotten the opportunity to play in person very much recently, unfortunately, due to COVID, but hey, I'm looking forward to playing this deck once again at locals. I did go back to school, so I don't have as much time to make videos, but hey, here I am. I'm putting this one out for you guys, so make sure you give it a like if you appreciate it. And without any further ado, let's just jump right into it. Okay, to start for the monsters, we play the triple copies of A Assault Core, along with triple copies of B Buster Drake, and 3 copies of C Crush Wyvern. Very standard. We do play Pot of Desires in this deck, so yeah, we definitely need to max out on all 3 pieces to minimize our chances of banishing all 3 of one piece, because then this deck is somewhat unplayable. But yeah, play 3 of each in this deck. They are good starters. Then we play the 1 heavy mech support armor. So this one revives a piece from the graveyard, and it's quite a nice play going second just to normal summon this one. And if you're successful in getting pieces back into your graveyard, it can help you bring back something and continue making big plays going forward. Then we play 2 copies of the Union Driver. So I play 2. I would play 1 if I wasn't playing the Desires, but since I am, this card is a very important combo piece in this deck, so we definitely like to make sure we see it, or not see it in our hand, but have it in our deck, essentially. So then we play 2 copies of the Gold Gadget, which is followed up by the 2 copies of the Silver Gadget. So these pieces help get your ABC pieces out of your hand and onto the field. I don't love these cards because if their effects get negated, you effectively burned your normal summon, and these cards are pretty dead on the field. I mean, they do float into one another, but yeah, I don't love this card, but I feel like it's better than Frontline Base, because Frontline Base requires you to have, it's like a 3-card combo instead of just a 2-card combo. So anyways, moving on, we do play 1 Photon Orbital. This is a card that recently got reprinted, so I definitely picked it up, and I recommend anyone playing this deck definitely should pick this card up now, because it's around $6 at the time of making this video, which is quite a lot better than $40 or $50 like this card was before. So definitely play this, because this can really help your Union Hanger go into a 1-card super big combo. So stay tuned for that. Then we play triple copies of the Galaxy Soldier. So you can search Galaxy Soldier off of Photon Orbital. So definitely play 3 of these, especially since we are playing Desires. We like to max out on this card. And then triple Parallel Exceed. This card is, I will say, if the rest of your hand isn't that good, it is a brick, but otherwise it is an amazing extender and helps you put more stuff on the board. It can help you put a Abyss Dweller on the board, which against certain decks in this format, it's just like an OTK because they can't play through it. So I will play this card for the foreseeable future, because I just think the risk is worth the reward. That's just me, but you are free to cut this card out and play something else if you want, but I love this card. I'm going to play triple Ash, great hand trap this format, and this deck struggles going second, but if you can disrupt your opponent a little bit when they're going through their combo, Ash is just really amazing for that, so it can help you play through going second. Then for the spells, we play 3 copies of the best card in the deck, the Union Hanger. Seriously, this card is a 1-card ABC Dragon Buster plus Union Hanger, or Union Carrier plus Cyber Dragon Infinity. This card is absolutely crazy, and if you see this card and you're going first, there's a good chance that you have a good chance of winning the game. That's all I can say. So I love this card in this deck. You know, it's bread and butter. And 1 copy of Terraforming, effectively your 4th copy of the Union Hanger. And then we play 3 of the Unauthorized Reactivation. So I'm going to be honest, I slept on this card a little bit in the last profile. I only played it at 2. And this card is absolutely amazing, because what it does is it's an extender, but it also can protect your monsters from your opponent's plays. Like, you can equip whatever piece you want onto your machine monsters, and those pieces will protect it. Like, A protects from monster effects, B protects from spells, and C protects from trap effects. So you just chain, and you can also chain this to Dark Ruler No More. So you can, protect your Infinity Gate or your ABC ability to split apart. Like, this card is absolutely nuts. So definitely play this card at 3. Huge mistake to not play it at 3. Then we play 3 Pot of Desires. So I feel like this deck definitely needs a little bit of a consistency boost. You probably should be playing at least some kind of pot spell in this deck. I like Desires because, well, the new Pot of Prosperity is way too expensive in my opinion, and this deck, the build that I'm running here actually does rely on the extra deck quite a lot. You generally like to have access to everything in the extra deck for here, so I'm just playing Pot of Desires. It's not too big of a deal. Like, as long as you only use one, like, there's such a low chance that you'll banish all 3 pieces. So yeah, I'm just playing the Desires. And we play 1 Monster Reborn. It's just a nice extender. You could replace this with a Called by the Grave. I just hate playing Called by the Grave at 1 because Called by the Grave is just, it's never there when you need it, and it's just not that good when a lot of the times when I do have it, I just feel like it's not helping me that much, like going second or whatever. So I don't know. You could play it because this deck does hate getting hand trapped, but yeah, I'm not. So then we play 3 copies of Cosmic Cyclone. So I am main decking back row removal in here because back row is so prevalent, and I just feel like Cosmic Cyclone is such a great back row removal tool because Eldritch traps like to activate in the graveyard, but this will stop them from floating into other trap cards. And yeah, this card it's good against Virtual World, like the Chuche. If you can banish that, it's pretty good. So yeah, I definitely like Cosmic Cyclone. And then lastly, to round off the deck, we play Harpy's Feather Duster, just for more back row removal, like in en masse. And like, these are just single. This one can remove an entire back row. So that's it for the main deck. Let's go ahead and go on into the extra deck. To start for the extra deck, we do play 2 copies of ABC Dragon Buster. So you might be wondering why I'm only playing this card at 2, and I'll tell you because there's lots of ways that your opponent can stop you from making this card. First of all, there's lots of cards in the meta that prevent you from banishing cards from your graveyard, and there's as well as cards that your opponent uses that banish cards from your graveyard. So if you only have the 3 pieces in your graveyard, DD Crow kind of can screw you over, as well as Cycle Reader, which is a card meant to counter the Drytrons, actually works very well against this deck too, because hey, all these are light machine type monsters, so that card will be able to banish 2 of them from your graveyard. And yeah, this card's difficult to make in some matchups, so I feel like just playing it at 2 and just reserving space for other things is a little bit more useful. But you can play it at 3 because there are 2 flexible spots in this extra deck. Next we play the 1 Invoked Mechaba. So Mechaba is actually interesting in this deck because there's lots of... If the reason why you play this card is because Cyber Dragon Nova, a lot of people don't know that if Cyber Dragon Nova is sent from your possession to the graveyard, then you get, by your opponent's card effect, you get to special summon a fusion machine type monster from your extra deck, and Invoked Mechaba can help you out because you can summon this card off of the Nova if your opponent disrupts you, and you can actually get a negate on the board with the Mechaba. So this card is interesting. I just play it because of my locals. For online, people have been playing lots of Dogmatica Maximus. Also, like, if your opponent Maximus is you can just send your 2 Cyber Dragons, Cyber Dragon Nova and Infinity, to the graveyard, and you can actually summon this card as well. So it's an interesting card. You don't have to play it by any means. Then we play, for our Ixies, we play 1 Daigusto Emerald, 1 Abyss Dweller, and Cyber Dragon Nova along with Cyber Dragon Infinity. So Daigusto Emerald, don't underestimate the long games, because even if you set up a really good board, you probably are gonna, there's a chance that you might go into a long game, and you need this card to essentially put resources back into your extra deck. And since we're only playing 2 ABC Busters, we need to shuffle those back. So I think Emerald's a must. Abyss Dweller also a must, and the Cyber Dragons also a must because they're just so free in this deck, and the Galaxy Soldiers help you set up your graveyard while going into this card. So yeah, this card, those Infinity is really nice. And then the one Divine Arsenal Zeus. So this card doesn't come up super often, but like sometimes you can stack it up onto infinity if you don't need the negate and just need to like blow a board. So I like the Zeus. You don't need to play it. It's one of the flexible spots along with the Invoked Mechabo. Those are the two extra deck slots that I would say are flexible in this deck. So if you want to play something else, definitely go for it. And for the links, we play Platinum Gadget, Slyframe Lord Lambda, and Union Carrier. So for these link twos, Platinum Gadget rarely comes up. You might actually consider playing two Union Carriers, but Platinum Gadget can help you get a piece out onto the board in certain scenarios where you otherwise wouldn't be able to. So you can make your ABC Lambda. I do play the Gamma package in the side deck, and actually Lambda can allow you to activate your Sci-Frame cards when you have monsters on the board. So this one's actually not too bad and it's generic. Whereas Platinum Gadget and Union Carrier can't be used as link material to turn their summoned. This one can. So sometimes you go into it and like you use it to go into higher link monsters, whereas for these two you couldn't. Then we play one copy of IP Masquerena. It's just used for link summoning on your opponent's turn, and it gives your link monsters a nice protection effect when you link summon using this card. So I love this card. It's not like there's lots of counters to it, and it doesn't always go off, but when it does, you usually win the duel. So I just like to have it in there for that reason. And then to round it off for our high link rating monsters, we play one Avermax, one Boral Sword, and one of the new card from the new set. We play the Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. So Avermax is really good to go in with IP if you don't have a lot of monsters. Like if you just have a Masquerena and a Union Carrier on the field, you can go into Avermax. Boral Sword going in on turns 2 and later for OTKs, and Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. This deck likes to put stuff onto the board. You can even make this card during your opponent's turn with IP. That's insane when that happens, but during your turn, you can just link off like your pieces that were still stuck around from when you disassembled your ABC Dragon Buster. So yeah, that's it for the extra deck. I will run through a side deck real quick, the one that I'm playing currently. Let's get right into that. Okay, for the side deck, I'm playing 2 copies of Mystical Space Typhoon. So this card is actually pretty good, I would say, in addition to your back removal that you already run. So like if you're playing up against a back row deck and you just need more back removal, like why not play Mystical Space Typhoon? You could play Twin Twister, but honestly, I feel like this deck, even though like this deck can recycle stuff back to your hand and like give you discard fodder, I just don't like it as much because this deck does discard enough as it is already. So MST is good enough for me, I feel like. So you could play Twin Twister as well, but I'm just playing MST. It doesn't negate, but hey, it still destroys. And we play 1 copy of Dark Hole, 1 copy of Regeki, and 1 copy of Pankratops. So these are just pretty good going second cards. Dark Hole can allow you to float or allow you to trigger off your own ABC pieces. So Dark Hole is pretty cool. It can get you back some advantage, and Regeki just destroys all monsters your opponent controls. Pankratops is just a free special summon and can 2 for 1 if you're going second, which is insane. And we play 2 copies of Nib. So against certain matchups that like to special summon a lot, Nib is pretty nice. There's not a lot of people playing Nib, I feel like, these days, but it definitely can come up in certain matchups. And then we play triple Gamma along with the Sci-Frame Driver. So if we're not playing against a back row removal or back row deck, feel free to side in the Gamma and the Driver package over your back row removal that you run in the main deck. So that's what I do if I'm not playing against a back row deck. And then 3 copies of the Dark Ruler No More. This card is insane, and pretty much I feel like if VFD wasn't so prevalent in the format, more people would be playing Dark Ruler No More, because this card doesn't work against True King of All Calamities, just because they can use it beforehand. But yeah, this card, so nice. And then Tornado Dragon to round it off. If you are playing against a back row deck, you can side out something in your extra deck, one of your other rank 4s that you feel like you don't need, and you can put in Tornado Dragon. It's good going first too, like if you know you're playing against back row, because it can remove back row on your opponent's turn, the turn they set it, so they don't actually get the chance to use it. But yeah, so that's it for the side deck. Let's go on into a few combos. So for this first combo, I'm just going to go over what you can do with Union Hanger and how the standard Union Hanger combo can be improved by Parallel Exceeds or Unauthorized Reactivation. So basically Parallel Exceed is just an extender, and Unauthorized Reactivation is, if you have the Union Hanger in your hand, I would recommend against using it as an extender and using it to protect your cards from your opponent's disruptions. So anyways, without any further ado, let's get right into this. So what you're going to do is you're going to start by activating the Union Hanger if you see it in your opening hand, and go ahead and use this effect to search the B from your deck to your hand. Then what you do is you normal summon the B, and you use the other effect of Union Hanger to equip a Union Driver onto the B. Then you go ahead and use the Union Driver effect, go ahead and banish it, and equip the A onto your B now, and then go ahead and special summon the A, and from here you can go ahead and link off the A and the B into the Union Carrier. So what you'll do now is you'll chain A, then B, then if you have the Parallel Exceed in your hand, you'll chain that as well. So if you don't have the Parallel Exceed, just ignore this part, but I'm just going to keep it here for the potential. So you'll special summon the Parallel Exceed, go ahead and use the B to add the C from your deck to your hand, and go ahead and use the A to get the B back from your graveyard into your hand. So now your hand has C and B back recovered. So now you can go ahead and use Parallel Exceed's other effect to special summon the other Parallel Exceed from your deck. So from here, you could go ahead and overlay these two into, say, Abyss Dweller, or you could make the IP Masquerena using them as well. So I'm just going to keep these two here. So if you have the Parallel Exceed, you have the option of one of these two cards. So now we can go ahead and use the Union Carrier's effect to search our deck for the Photon Orbital and equip it onto the Union Carrier. And then go ahead and send the Photon Orbital to the graveyard using its own effect to search out the Galaxy Soldier from our deck. And then we can go ahead and special summon the Galaxy Soldier by discarding our C that was in our hand, and use its effect to search out the other Galaxy Soldier from our deck and special summon that one as well. So you're going to special summon that one by discarding the B that was in your hand, and go ahead and overlay them at this point, and you can go into the Cyber Dragon Nova. Now, if your opponent is a crazy man and is main decking Nibiru, this is probably where they're going to do it. So if your Nova gets tributed off, it's not the end of the world, because you do have the Mechaba in your extra deck. So if Nova gets tributed, then hey, you'll get the Mechaba onto the field. It sucks that this and Union Carrier will get tributed off, but also if you do have the Unauthorized Reactivation, you can use it to save, say, like your Union Carrier or your Cyber Dragon Nova, because you can go ahead and equip the A onto one of either the Nova or the Union Carrier. Also, if your opponent is playing like Imperm, I know that's not super common in this format, and tries to Imperm something, you can chain this to the Imperm as well, and then equip whatever was targeted by the Imperm with the C from your deck. So, because C protects against trap effects. So this card, like I said, if you have it in your hand, save it and you have the Union Hanger, like if you can get away with not using it as an extender, I would use it for protection instead. So anyways, continuing it on, go ahead and overlay Cyber Dragon Infinity, and Infinity's Negate is now live. And since we have the A, B, and C in our graveyard, go ahead and banish those guys and special summon out the ABC Dragon Buster. So now our board is looking pretty spicy. So we have for sure we have the Union Carrier, Cyber Dragon Infinity, and ABC Dragon Buster. If we had the Parallel Exceed, we have an option of going IP Masquerena or the Abyss Dweller. So, and if we have the Unauthorized Reactivation, go ahead and set that sucker before going into your opponent's turn, because your opponent might try and disrupt you some more. And this card can save you there. And Dark Ruler No More, you can go ahead and chain this card, because Dark Ruler No More is a very popular side deck card, and I do face it a lot. So this card can chain it onto that, and you can protect your, say, Cyber Dragon Infinity, and then chain ABC Dragon Buster, or chain IP Masquerena. So this card, absolutely insane. So yeah, definitely make use of it if you can. So that's about it for this combo. Actually, before I end it off, I'll just give you the options. If you have the IP Masquerena, what you can do is you can go for Avermax or the Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. So if you wait for your opponent to put a monster onto the board, you can chain IP, then chain ABC Dragon Buster, and maybe if they have two monsters on the board, you can chain the IP or Dragon Buster's effect to banish one of your opponent's monsters, and then use the other one for link material for the Underworld Goddess of the Closed World, which will give you it'll blanket negate your opponent's monsters that are still currently on the board. So if they had more, then their effects would be negated, and it also gives you a negate when your opponent tries to special summon something from the graveyard. So yeah, I really like this card, and it's insane when you can resolve it with IP, or you could go into Avermax like with Union Carrier and IP, and this card is also just very difficult for your opponent to out in certain situations. So that's it for this combo. It's worth noting that if we don't open up the Union Hanger, the next best thing that we'll see is an ABC piece plus the Unauthorized Reactivation. So what you do in that case is, I'm not going to go actually through this whole combo because it's very similar to the previous one, but you're essentially going to go normal summon your piece, activate the Unauthorized Reactivation, equip the Union Driver, which the Union Driver, if you haven't figured out in this case, is actually the saving grace of this deck. So go ahead and banish the Union Driver and go for B, and special summon the B, and then link off these two. This should be in the graveyard as well, and go into your Union Carrier. You could go into the Platinum Gadget if your hand supported it, and save the Union Carrier for later, per se. But yeah, I would just recommend going for the Union Carrier, because in like most cases that's what you're going to go for. And then go ahead and chain the B, then the A. So the A is going to add the B back to your hand, and the B is going to add a C to your hand, and then go ahead and use the Union Carrier's effect to equip the Photon Orbital, and the rest is basically the same as the previous combo. So you will end on the Union Carrier alongside the ABC and the Cyber Dragon Infinity as well. So that's a pretty solid board. It's not quite as good as the last one because we did have the Field Spell, which can be used every turn, even on your opponent's turn. So that's going to be it for the combos for this video. I feel like this deck is really one that you have to play around with, and I encourage you to do so. Like online, you can do it for free, and just try comboing with this deck and seeing what ways you guys can make it more consistent. I do know that there is a build going around where people play set rotation and something like Signet Universe, I believe, to add another way to access your field spell. I haven't played around with that too much, but I know it's out there. So yeah, definitely experiment with this deck. I will drop my Discord channel into the description if you guys want to discuss, because last time there was a lot of people asking me if I had one and wanting to discuss this deck. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it so much. And with that, I'm just going to leave you guys the same way I always do, with a peace out and a goodbye. Enjoy your day.